I'm just going to see if there's another Twitter question for us to pose to the panel.
We've got a question from Dan Graff that Monica might be able to help us with. It's the Games Fund was axed, but new entrepreneurship funds mean that venture capitalists may get involved. Do any of the panellists have any experience with venture capitalists?
You've leapfrogged into my next section. Can I just no, you answer the question. Go for it. Venture capitalists.
Yeah, we get approached all the time by VC funding, and VC funding is fantastic if the venture capitalist is the right person for you. So it really depends. Like there are some major players in I'm sure Holly could probably speak to this as well, like in the free-to-play mobile space. Like that's basically how free-to-play works, is you get your metrics to a point where it's like your user acquisition cost is $1 and your lifetime revenue per user is $2.50, and you have data showing that in a closed beta or whatever, or on the store for 2 months, and then you just walk into VC and you say, look, if you put in 10 million here, you're going to get 25 million out the other end. And they go, okay, here's a check for 100 million, and then you pull the Facebook advertising lever and then the money machine begins, right? And that's a super simplification, but there are a lot of people in VC funding that work in that specific area. And so if your thing is free to play, if you're a small free to play studio, then yeah, VC is likely to be fantastic for what you want to do. Then there are other reasons as well to get VC funding, and it might be regional. So, for example, we're talking to a major company at the moment about we're going to do our Mellow in like 11 languages or something, and one of the biggest regions that we want to hit is Asia. But China, North Korea, and Japan are all immensely different markets, and I feel confident going to GDC and talking and setting up partnerships in English-speaking countries and even there in Europe, but I know nothing about the Asian market. And so there are partners, and some of them may be VC, that have that expertise. And so if you find someone, and this is it's a classic angel investor thing as well, it's like if your angel is from your line of business, then they can bring a wealth of knowledge. It's not just about the money. Like a lot of VC and angel investment is about the people that are providing this funding, because obviously it's in their interest for you to do well. So if you can bring on someone that said, say for example, on our Mellow, there was a VC funding angel that had released 20 digital board games in the indie scene and wanted to and push them across other markets, I would just be like, yes, thank you, come aboard. It really depends, but you've got to find the right person, I think.
Yeah.
I think you've also got to think about what you're giving up as well, because money's never free. So usually they're going to want something from you or take something from you. Usually it'll be a part of your company, or they'll own a percentage of the game or something like that. And so we got into, I set up No because I wanted to make the games that I want to make. I want to be able to say, this is my idea, I'm going to make it, I'm going to follow it all the way through. So if I'm going to partner up with someone else with finance, like venture capitalists, I have to understand how they're going to want to get involved with the company, and are they going to want to start to push me more for deadlines and try and monetize X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, let's talk about the types of things they will expect. I
would imagine that they're going to be much more focused on the money, and not that we're not focused on the money, but their goal is to get return on their investment.
And VC can largely be a big return, like you might see VC asking for 3 times more than what they've put in, or something like that, or ongoing return on their investment. So even more so than you would get from a bank or something.
Or float you on the stock market, or or things like that.
So you might want equity at some point as well.
Yeah,
and usually that means they'll impact deadlines, so shorten the
potentially,
or
they're not just going to give you money and go, hey, go for your life. I won't see you again for 2 years. They're going to get involved, and if they've got lots of skills and expertise, that's great, because
everything's negotiable, right? Everything's totally negotiable. That's something at League of Geeks we have complete faith in the fact that our Mellow is awesome, and that it's going to be awesome, and that we can make great games, and that it's going to be a success. And who knows, maybe we'll tank it within the next year. But we have faith in that. And so we've walked into discussions with major publishers and major companies and platform partners, and just basically put red lines through contracts that some people would dream of. And it's only because, like you say, we don't need them. We could do it on our own. Maybe there's a few services that we could really use from them, but because we have that great content, because we feel we can get it to market, we call the shots, and we negotiate what we want. And it's a back and forth. And if you can't find that happy place, don't do it. Don't feel like if some VC person comes along and is like, oh my God, your game's amazing. We want to give you some money. We'll help you be successful. You don't have to just get the contract and go, oh, okay, and sign it. Wow, I'm so lucky to have this VC. No, bullshit. They're coming to you because they're interested in your product. If someone offers you $1 billion for your company, it's because they can make 10. So, you really need to be aware of that and take that and I think have confidence in your ability to negotiate. And we're lucky. Like one of our directors, Blake, is like a pit bull in negotiations. He's fantastic. And he's our biz dev guy as well. And he just has no qualms just being, and we're very forward at League of Geeks as well with these people. It's just like, no, we don't want that. We want this, and this is what's important to us. And we'd love to work with you, but we need to work with you in this way, and blah blah blah. And we have fantastic relationships with everyone, even the ones where we've had to say, look, it's not going to work out, but awesome,
Travis, do you have any experience? Yeah, I was going to say.
I just add, not much from what these guys said. Just get legal representation.
Yeah.
Like, don't be walking into this.
I should say
yourself.
we pass everything. We've got lawyers here in Sydney. Lawyers and accountants are something that we do not skimp on. Like we've got a massive law firm, Trent Kusters, here in Sydney that do our work, and they're amazing. And we pass everything through them.
Yeah, that was the only thing I was going to add. Like,
yeah.
And
when
Holly,
we said you can self-publish and do all that,
Yeah.
the one thing would be the legal side to get
Holly,
sorted.
have you guys had much experience with generating capital through the VCs for Cabana?
Yeah, so for us, we started out with VC funding, and I live in a fun echo chamber called Silicon Valley. You probably get a glimpse in it through that TV show. And the thing with investors and VCs, they are thinking about they are definitely thinking about potential. That's what they care about the most. And I think we have this discussion a lot with our close cousins in Hollywood about, how come there's not VC capital flowing into Hollywood as much. And if you kind of look at what the investors, the VC companies invest in, it's going to be similar to what public markets like as well. I mean, they basically want to see potential and future stable revenues. So the problem is when the gaming company's been labeled as a hit, or the gaming industry has been labeled as a hit-driven industry. Like if it's hits-driven, then it gets a little skittish. That's why the King IPO, you could argue about whether it was priced well or priced not well, whatever. The public markets didn't really react very well. It's because they want to see potential growth, scale, and I would probably recommend a VC. Like I love our investors because there are ways that there are partners where we wouldn't have gotten to scale. Like Warner Brothers, an investor in us. There's no way we could get it just kind of helps us. Even our first investors introducing us to certain people. It depends kind of what you want to do with your company. How you want to grow. Do you want to stay indie and just stay kind of as an independent studio, or you want to try to become, like Warner Brothers, build a whole distribution platform? And that was something that was very appealing for us. We had the opportunity, and we're trying to go and continue to take it. So it depends what you want.